Domestic sales of commercial vehicles in India are continuing with its free fall as sales fell by minus 25.71% in July 2019 at 56,866 units compared to 76,545 units in the corresponding period last year, according to the latest data released by the Society of Indian Automobile Manufacturers, SIAM. The medium and heavy commercial vehicle segment was the worst hit with a minus 37.48% fall. In this segment, sales of goods carriers fell by minus 41.43% in the country for July 2019. The domestic sales of LCVs fell by minus 18.79% at 39,144 units. But believe it or not, the truckers or the transporters of goods by trucks knew of such a pass as early as October 2018. We speak to SP Singh, Senior Fellow and Coordinator, Indian Foundation of Transport Research and Training, an independent research body, to know more about this dramatic and drastic fall. Mr. Singh, how grim is the situation in the commercial vehicle segment? There's been a huge slide in sales of commercial vehicles, heavy vehicles as well as LCVs. Did you realize that the situation is going to be bad a long time back?
You know, when you discuss most of the time, is the commercial vehicle sales or automobile sales, believing that this is an indicator of economic development or negativity. Fact of the case is that the road transport business should have been the window to judge the entire automotive sector, and road transport business, even prior to that, the economic conditions has begun to feel tremors. Last year, in the beginning itself, throughout the year, when the vehicles were selling in big numbers because of discounts, because of movement from BS3 to BS4, all those things were happening which were not related to cargo offering going up. And during October last year, particularly, when the sales for FMCG, durables, other discretionary things, whether garments or other things, they had started shrinking. That has created a very clear-cut division. The economy was already slow. Now the transport sector started feeling the pinch when the cargo offering has been come down. And in November, as a transport research body, our monthly truck rental report, we saw 3 to 4% drop in truck rentals. And that drop from month to month basis in last till July and till yesterday on the 15th this August, Independence Day, that slide is not stopping. And today, almost the utilization of the truck fleet in the country, which is medium and heavy vehicles, are around 5 million. The utilization is now 65 to 70% only. Okay. Rentals have dropped by around 13 to 18%. And the saving grace is the last 1 month, the international Brent crude prices have dropped from $66 to $58. Otherwise, situation could have been much worse had this been the spiral in the fuel prices. Now, when we are talking at this stage, the economic activity support to the transportation from the agri-food items has come down drastically. If you can see the prices of the fruit and vegetables in the country, which are at the peak today. The sales of the fast-moving goods, manufacturing items has slided by 25 to 30%. Manufacturers are cutting the days of working. Shutdowns, not only the automobile industry, shutdowns are happening in every other industry also. But today we are more obsessed with the car makers and the truck makers, and we are talking of their shutdowns. But today is that the first trucking industry has been shut down by 30%. The other businesses are shut down by 30% or 20% depending on each sector. And as a pile-up of that, the bust which has started, the anti-growth situation which has started in November on the vehicle sales, drop in truck rentals, that has now peaked to a level in July when you are saying that the sales are down by 25% to 30%. And this situation now, government is grappling in a dark area. That is where the situation is.
Okay, Mr. Singh, when you say when rentals come down, that is one indication that things are going to be bad. Why do, I mean, for a layman, can you explain why do rentals come down for a fleet operator or for a transporter? Trucker. Yeah.
Basically, when the cargo offering is low and more vehicles are chasing less consignments, they have to remain in, because their fixed expenses are there, variable expenses except for diesel, they all remain intact. And when their expenses are going on, they have to keep their vehicles employed to whatever extent to recover, to maintain their revenue, monthly revenues, even if they are low by 10%, 20%, 30%. And now that a situation that rentals first is going to be hit is the rental. Subsequent months, the full round trip between say Delhi, Calcutta back, they are down much more than that. Then the revenue is also shrinking. So rentals are shrinking, revenue is shrinking. Now his expenditure, if is $100 and due to diesel consumption which must be less because vehicles are running less, maybe 90. I am giving you a hypothetical situation.
That's right.
Maybe 90. His recovery in revenue terms is just 65, 70. Now this yawning gap leads to what? His installments, if he doesn't repay, his vehicles are going to be repossessed. The people who are having old vehicles, if they want to sell to increase their liquidity for the working capital, their vehicles are getting sold at 60% of the price. You know, as against any vehicle which is should have been sold second-hand vehicle 5th year, say for 17 lakhs, it is getting sold at 12 lakhs. So the question is, resale is very difficult. If it is there, it is at a very low price. So as a surplus fleet being in the market, why should somebody go and buy a new fleet at an exorbitant price? Even if there are discounts, even if the funding EMIs are low, he has very little reason to go and buy the new vehicle. He would like to retain the vehicle further when he has repaid the installments. So today, the truckers are becoming more wiser, circumstances have made them to be more wiser. So they have slowed down their replacement process. The expansion of fleet is nowhere to be seen. And as a consequence, manufacturers, when they had piled up inventories with the retailers, their authorized dealers, indiscriminately, only to make their balance sheet look rosy. And today that has bounced back to them. Dealers have also now run out of steam, and they are not ready to accept any billing unless they have appropriate sale numbers with them. And with that consequences, now they are having shutdowns. Factories are being closed. They are de-hiring the people. They are consuming less electricity. They are procuring less parts from the component people. So the vehicle manufacturers will survive by passing on their problems to various direct and indirect stakeholders. But this is not the situation with the truck owner. He has to bear the brunt of the entire crisis. And government is more focused on how to save the vehicle manufacturers. They are not concerned how to save the road transport sector. So this is a question of misplaced priority and misplaced understanding of the gravity of the grimness of the economic situation. And with that situation being here today, government becoming clueless or panicky on the every front, and they have not read the things much early 2 years back, which ordinary trucker and transporters have started reading 1 year back. When they are reading the market in a broad daylight that it is sinking, why could not the government understand? But government was more busy with winning votes and winning elections. Now having won the election votes with thumping majority, government when is being approached, it is approached by the powerful stakeholders to seek reliefs. It is not being looked after that who are the people who are really suffering. It is a common man, small businesses, small entrepreneurs, MSMEs, they need support. And for that support, we need to create buying power, spending power in the economy and exports. Today, a lot of things are being talked in the pink press, electronic media, but they all are worried about, in case of trucks, 3-4 big manufacturers, for cars, 3-4 car makers, as if these 7-8 makers of cars and trucks are India, and lakhs of millions of truckers, billions of population which is losing jobs and getting impatient, has become non-entity for them. This is a very harsh word I am using, but being truthful to the situation as a research body, we have read the writing on the wall almost 2 years back, and truckers have read it more than 1 year back, but this government remained on a denial mode, and as a consequences, the vehicle manufacturers were living in their own heavens, and they were not ready, because even today, this last quarter's financial results, stand-alone profits of all of them are there. Their profits have come down from 30 crore to 10 crore, but profits have not, they're not vanished. Whereas in case of trucking business, people are losing their jobs. In trucking business, their assets are being repossessed, but none of the factories has been taken over by any financer. You know why it is happening? Because their profits have shrunk. Maruti's profit have shrunk. Hyundai's profit have shrunk. Tata Motors standalone profits might have shrunk, except for JLR impact. You mentioned Ashok Leyland, their profits have shrunk, but they are not in that bad position as much as the road transport sector. And unless we don't repair the economy and help the more helpless, the transport sector, we are not going to see the revival only for the purpose of 8 manufacturers of cars and trucks. Let us shift our focus at the right place, and the priorities have to be rejigged.
Mr. Singh, now yes, we understand the plight of the truckers. They're going through a massive pain. Now, what are the things that would be required by the government to create some kind of a stimulus wherein life gets better for truckers and subsequently maybe at the far end for all the manufacturers? What are your suggestions?
Our focus is on the road transport and logistic business. We are very clear. First of all, truckers need support is that the installments which they are paying, they should be rescheduled. They don't need concession in interest rate. They don't need waiver in the installment. They only need that the present time when they are not able to pay. They should be given 3 months to 6 months time to repay, so that today the trucks are not unduly repossessed. In this bargain, the NBFCs also will suffer. After repossessing is not a pleasant option for them, So we must see that if NBFCs survive, they are able to fund more vehicles. Then government has to put money into where the consumption can grow, where the money has to come to the market, where the production goes up. That is a much larger micro issue. That is not an industry-based issue as transport or trucking or the car makers issue. That much larger issue is that how you create a ecosystem when the people's spending power goes on. There we see that the jobs are not there. So how you create the jobs, how the people have more money, and in doing so, people spending more, then only the revival will come. Because in export front, global slowdown is there. We don't have an immediate solution in the export front. Domestic market is large, but we have to have very benevolent government to the people who need, not the people who can demand and get away.
Okay, one last question is, in your personal assumption, in your personal capacity, in your personal thought processes, what do you think is going to be the situation in the next few months or the next 1 or 2 years? You see things improving?
You see, question is, this question should be asked to the government. We are being not the right people to be asked the question, but given the area and the academics we cover is the automotive and transport sector. In this sector, as on date, the scenario is very grim. Next 3 quarters are not going to be very good. Only thing on which people are hinging is the pre-buying of BS4 vehicles as against high cost BS6 vehicles which are coming on 1st April next year, or the fuel prices will go up because the BS6 fuel is going to be costlier. But for that, which is an unnatural demand, again, that may be only helping the automakers for a while to some extent, but it will again create a fleet size which will not be sustainable in the market, and there will be oversupply of the fleet, From April onwards, then the BS6 sales will also drop, So we are into a vicious situation. To come out of that, we need North Block to solve the problem. We are very clear that the immediate issue is how you handle the transport sector. Today, transport sector is clueless because those transporters, those who come into this business, truckers, because the entry and exit is very easy. That is why they enter this business. They don't enter because of wisdom they have got. So because they survive on overloading, they survive on GST leakages, their survival tools are very different. So if now today's GST leakages cannot continue because government is going to be strict on that. Yes. The overloading laws have been, the new motor vehicle amendment bill, they have been more stringent. First 6 months, once they are enforced from 1st September, they may not be, it will be difficult for them. In such a situation, they don't have any legal or illegal way to survive unless the growth in cargo offerings is there from manufacturing, from agri-food items, from import exports and infrastructure. Now these four constitutes their requirement. Now government, Ministry of Road Transport or Finance, or first that instance Ministry of Industry, none of them is coming out very clearly how they are going to tackle the issue. So for us, we can only ask for short-term bomb here and there, and they are not the way to handle the situation. They can put off the situation, bad situation for 6 months. If you reschedule the installment, if you increase some spending during the festival season, you may pass 1 quarter. But question is, we are a country which in 10 years, 5 years, 2 years, we are trying to double the economy.
The 5 trillion.
5 trillion economy. Are these dreams are matching with the ground realities? Perhaps today not.
Okay. Thank you so much.